I wish I could be with you to participate in this 26th Annual International Bridge Conference. This is a critical time in the history of our surface transportation program in America, but our legislative schedule keeps me in Washington. While this event is taking place in Pittsburgh, the city of bridges, we're working in the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure to restructure and recreate the future of the nation's surface transportation programs. It couldn't be a more important piece of legislation at a more important time in our history. We are on the threshold of a transformational moment in the evolution of our surface transportation programs. While this authorization is going to be a very difficult one, failure to act is out of the question. The urgent needs of our surface transportation system are growing every day, but the status of the trust fund is becoming unsustainable. The critical issue of getting this bill completed before the present law expires on September 30th is essential. I will not stand for another extension of time as we did in crafting the current law. We went through 11 extensions. We're going to get this done by September 30th. We need to do this. We need to do this to retain trust of the public, of the state DOTs, of the goods movement in this country. If we fail to address these problems, we're going to have a 35% reduction in surface transportation and infrastructure investment in the coming fiscal year. That is huge. That would be an unprecedented cut in surface transportation investments. It is unacceptable. It will not happen as a result of inaction, at least so far as I'm concerned, and as far as what we can and will do in the House. The needs are many and urgent. They have to be addressed, and the collapse of the I-35W bridge in Minneapolis pounded that message home to the American public. The shocking images we saw on the news in the aftermath of that collapse brought the deteriorating conditions of our nation's bridges directly home into America's living rooms. It reminded us of the central role that surface transportation plays in our daily lives and the consequence of neglect. The tragedy had a direct impact on the people of my state of Minnesota, but the problem of the nation's infrastructure is not confined to any one state. There are 71,000 structurally deficient bridges and 80,000 functionally obsolete bridges across America. This is a national problem and requires a national solution. 20 years ago, I held hearings on the condition of the nation's bridges. There we were treated to wide variety of problems across the spectrum of the nation's bridge structures, but one fact stood out. Then there were 76 structurally deficient and functionally obsolete bridges. Today that number has doubled. And the lessons learned from the collapse of the Silver Bridge, the Mayanas Bridge, and other bridge failures that we reviewed in that hearing haven't been implemented. In the current surface transportation law, SAFE-T, we provided $21.6 billion for the Highway Bridge Program for rehabilitation, maintenance, and replacement. Yet the Department of Transportation tells us that more than $65 billion could be invested immediately to replace or otherwise address existing bridge deficiencies. Clearly, we have to do better in the current rewrite of the surface transportation law. Our Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure has conducted in-depth hearings into the Highway Bridge Program in the aftermath of the I-35W bridge collapse and on the National Bridge Inspection Program. We found a number of significant problems that need to be addressed, and we determined that bridge inspection requirements and standards must be raised and strengthened, and training of bridge inspectors must be greatly improved. These reforms are critical to ensuring overall safety for the traveling public, and we're going to include those changes in this authorization. Over half of our bridges were built before 1964. That alone tells us it's critically important to have reliable information on the condition and safety of those bridge structures. We have to identify flaws and know ahead of time when the time comes to load, limit, or repair, reconstruct, or replace our bridges. Drivers should not have to be fearful when crossing a bridge in the United States. The standards that we have today for bridge inspections are routine visual inspection once every 2 years, including dragging a chain over the bridge. Now, that has been effective in the past. It has been useful, but it leaves many pieces of information undetected, many conditions undetected. And as the I-35W bridge has shown, we can build sensors into our bridge structures so that inspectors, those responsible for maintenance of the existing bridges, can know ahead of time and track conditions that can lead to serious deterioration or failure. To begin to address the underinvestment in our bridge infrastructure and to upgrade inspection standards, I introduced H.R. 3999, the National Highway Bridge Reconstruction and Inspection Act of 2008. Unfortunately, the bill didn't become law. If Congress had been in session just 1 week longer in the aftermath of the bridge collapse, I think it would have passed. But we laid the groundwork with this bill for the future of such bridge inspection and maintenance programs in the current authorization which we're working on and which we will unveil in the coming days. This bill will completely restructure the Department of Transportation, reorganize our surface transportation programs, and create a new program built on accountability and transparency. It will be performance-based. We will move from a highly prescriptive program of today with 108 categories to one with 4 formula programs and move from a prescriptive program to a performance and outcomes-based program, requiring the states to establish 6-year strategic investment programs with annual benchmarks of progress and reporting to U.S. DOT and to the Congress, both the House and Senate. The core of this new initiative will be the Critical Asset Improvement Program, requiring states to bring highway and bridge networks to a state of good repair. We're going to require states to undertake bridge inventories, to hold them accountable and to establish the plans and to hold them accountable for their plans for oversight and maintenance, and assure in a transparent way the traveling public that we're doing our best to serve them well. Taxpayers will receive the greatest return on their investment through a transparent, measurable program that has annual benchmarks of reporting and progress. We can and we will, in this new structure of the surface transportation programs and recreating, in a sense, the Department of Transportation, bring our critical infrastructure inventory to a state of good repair and protect the nation's drivers from yet another I-35W tragedy. But I can't do this all by myself. Our bipartisan leadership of the committee can't do it alone. We need you making the case to the public. We need you knocking on our colleagues' doors here in the House and Senate, letting them know how important increased investment is and sustainability of the transportation program for the future of our economy and protection of the American people. You've supported us in the past. You've given us your ideas as we go into this authorization period, and together we're going to enact this bill on time, put engineers and construction workers back on the job, rebuilding and repairing the nation's infrastructure for a 21st century surface transportation system. Thank you.